Hi guys, another English time here. Still, this is Miss Kyla, your English teacher, and today we will be discussing the first topic in Module 2. But before we start, let us try and recall what we have learned last time. Last time we have discussed reflexive and intensive pronouns. These are the two pronouns that appears identical. Why? Because they both end in self or selves. But then, you will only notice their difference once you use it in sentences. Again, a reflexive pronoun adds information in your sentence, right? It is a part of your sentence pattern and you cannot remove it from your sentence. Whereas an intensive pronoun only adds emphasis in your sentence. And it can always be removed because it's not a part of your sentence pattern. Can you remember? If yes, then let us start discussing the first topic under Module 2, and that is vocabulary development. Now let's start with a question. If I ask you to read a novel, what would be the major challenge for you, other than the fact that it is long? Surely most of you would answer, "Ma'am, I have not fully understood the story because I am not familiar with some of the words." This is the reason why most of us prefer stories which uses simple English words, because the problem lies with how much English words we know, or the span of our English vocabulary. Now you have to remember that vocabulary plays an important role in reading process, and it is needed for you to understand what you're reading. So as a reader, it will be very hard for you to understand what you're reading without knowing the meaning of some words in your story. Thus, it is important that you learn the skills that will help you increase your vocabulary, particularly identifying or telling meaning of words through context or getting the appropriate dictionary meaning. Well, when reading and you encounter a certain unfamiliar term, there are 4 ways that could help you understand its meaning. First is by grabbing a dictionary and check on the denotative meaning of that certain word. Well, checking the dictionary meaning is the easiest way for us to know and understand the meaning of a certain word. It is also the safest, simply because it is valid. But there is a challenge when using a dictionary, because sometimes a word could be used as a noun, as a verb, or even an adjective all at the same time. In this case, we might be confused with the appropriate meaning because all these meanings are correct, but which one am I looking for? When this problem arises, we could use the second way, and it is looking for the synonym of that certain unfamiliar term. We are aware that synonyms are words with similar meanings. If you cannot decipher the meaning of a certain unfamiliar term, then you look for its synonyms, and I am quite sure it will help you discover its meaning. The third way is to look for its antonym, or the opposite of its meaning. Because if you point out the differences, somehow you can come to understand each component better. The problem is, ma'am, what if I don't have a dictionary with me, I don't have a dictionary app on my phone, and I also don't have a thesaurus? I cannot look for the denotative meaning, I cannot look for the synonym, also the antonym. Where can you find the answer? Sometimes, the meaning is hidden on the text itself. And that is the 4th way on how you could discover the meaning of an unfamiliar term, by using or understanding the context clues. But what is a context clue? These are the hints found within a sentence, paragraph, or a passage itself. Well, using a context clue to understand the meaning of words is the most practical way to build our vocabulary, since we have to admit that a dictionary is not always available when we encounter an unfamiliar term. We have here 8 types of context clues that could help us develop our vocabulary. First, we have definition or description clue. This is also called as explanation. You know, when you're reading and a new term is formally defined or enough explanation was given within the sentence itself or in the following sentence, then it is a definition or description clue. This type of context clue includes that is, or sometimes it uses commas, dashes, or even parentheses to signal that a certain definition is given to further explain a new term. Example: his emaciation, that is, his skeleton-like appearance, was frightening to see. The unfamiliar term in this sentence is emaciation, and it was given a concrete definition or a description within the sentence itself. We have understood that skeleton-like appearance is the definition of emaciation, and it was introduced using the signal words that is. So that's how you find a description clue in a sentence. The second type of context clue are example clues. Sometimes when a reader finds a new word, an example that helps to explain its meaning might be found just right around the corner. You know, when we're using example clues, we can point this out using signal words. These are including, such as, and for example. Let us try a sentence here. We have celestial bodies, including the sun, moon, and stars, have fascinated man through the centuries. So the unfamiliar term here is celestial. And based on the example clue in a sentence, we could say that celestial objects are those in the skies or heavens, right? Because there is an enumeration of examples like sun, moon, and stars. And we also have the term including. That is your signal word for you to tell that the given clue is an example clue. Next type of context clue are synonym restatement clues. Well, we know that synonyms are those words with the same meaning. But this time, you need not to look for the synonym on your thesaurus, because you as a reader may discover the meaning of that word, since the idea is expressed and repeated using familiar words nearby. Here's an example. The word is cynosure. Flooded with spotlights, the focus of all attention, the new Miss America began her year-long reign. She was the cynosure of all eyes for the rest of the evening. Now here, the only unfamiliar term is cynosure. And we have understood it simply because there is a synonym present in the sentence, which is also used exactly the way how cynosure was used. Now we could say that based on the synonym restatement clue, cynosure means the focus of all attention. Do you understand? Now let us proceed to the fourth type of context clue, which we call as contrast clue or antonym clue. Of course, we know that antonyms are those words with opposite meanings. In this case, an opposite meaning context clue contrasts the meaning of an unfamiliar word with the meaning of a certain familiar term. Using this antonym clue, we also have signal words like although, however, and but. Let's take a look at one example we have here. The children were as different as day and night. He was a lively conversationalist, but she was reserved and taciturn. So the word taciturn here means the opposite of a lively conversationalist. And our signal word for us to know that it is using an antonym clue is the word but. Now we could conclude based on the antonym clue that taciturn is someone who is uncommunicative, right? Now, you've seen how you could use an antonym clue to understand a new word. So let us proceed to number 5. Now for the fifth type of context clue, we have mood clue, or also called as tone clue. In this type of context clue, the author sets a mood, and the meaning of the unknown word must harmonize with the mood set by the words used by the author. Now here's an example. The lugubrious wails of the gypsies match the dreary whistling of the wind in all but deserted cemetery. Now, how does it sound? The words chosen by the author sounds sad. And lugubrious, which means sorrowful, fits into the mood set by the words of the author. These are the words which are wails, dreary, and deserted cemetery. Now that's how you use a mood clue to help you understand a meaning of a term. Next we have for number 6 is experience clue. Sometimes a reader knows from experience how people or things act in a given situation. This knowledge may provide a clue to a certain word's meaning. Let us take a look at one example we have here. During those first bewildering weeks, the thoughts of a college freshman drifts back to high school, where he was in, knew everyone and felt at home. A feeling of nostalgia sweeps over him. The unfamiliar term here is nostalgia, and what made us understand its meaning is the enumeration of experiences, such as back in high school he knew everyone and he felt like he was at home. From this, we could say that nostalgia is being homesick, or that he is longing for something that he was personally attached with, where he felt happy, right? Now that is how experience clue gives an indirect explanation of the meaning of a certain unfamiliar term. Now let's talk about context clue number 7. It is inference clue. These are sufficient clues which might be available for the careful readers to make an educated guess at the meaning. So the clues are not directly given, unlike the previous ones we have discussed. In this type of clue, the reader should be very careful in making their own inference or conclusion as to how the word is defined using the clues presented. Let us study an example. Here we have, she told her friend, "I am through with blind dates forever. What a dull evening. I was bored every minute. The conversation was absolutely vapid." After reading the sentence, what is your inference or what's your conclusion? Well, obviously, the word is vapid. The conversation was vapid, she said. Was it a happy conversation? Oh, no. No, of course not. Because she said that she's done with blind dates forever. And that the evening was dull and she was bored. So from these ideas alone, we could infer that vapid means uninteresting. That the conversation was not stimulating or it was not even challenging. Did you have the same conclusion as mine? Oh, I hope you did. Now let us talk about the last type of context clues. Now for number 8, we have cause and effect clue. In this type of context clue, the author explains the reason for or the result of the word. The words like because, since, therefore, thus, and so may be used as the signal words to say that we are using cause and effect clue. Here is an example of a sentence using cause and effect clue. Let us read. She wanted to impress all her dinner guests with the food she served, so she carefully studied the necessary culinary arts. The unfamiliar term here is culinary, and it is a part of the effect. The cause or the reason is that she wanted to impress all her dinner guests with the food she served. That is why the effect is she carefully studied the necessary culinary arts. Based on this cause and effect relationship, we could say that the term culinary is about food preparation, right? Since we're talking about her preparing dinner for her guests. Now, culinary means food preparation. And this is how the cause and effect clue helped us understand the meaning of the word. Again, the different types of context clues are description, example, synonym restatement, antonym, mood, experience, inference, and cause and effect clue. You have to remember that it is very important for us to know how to detect the meanings of unfamiliar words using these context clues, because it will not only help us quickly understand what we are reading, but it would also broaden our English vocabulary. Guys, I do hope that you could apply this learning in your everyday life. So whenever you encounter a new word, do not settle with not knowing it because you don't have a dictionary with you. Try looking for the context clues. It will surely be a great help. Now that ends today's discussion. I hope you have learned something. If you have questions, you may reach me directly via Messenger. That is www.facebook.com/kai.cludo. You may also send me an email. That's kaila.cludo@deped.gov.ph, or send me a message or call me. That's 0936-551-1909. Or for smart users, you may text 0939-162-5089. In behalf of the English Department of Upper Bicutan National High School, we'll try and create more videos exclusively for you guys. Thank you for watching. Adios.